Greetings, my human friends. This once more is Rudolf, the tall white alien. Yesterday I introduced to you the Aurelians, as I call them, and they have also been known through the millenniums as the good people, who lived underground Earth since millions of years in ever peaceful relationship with humans after the human race was introduced by them, until the late Middle Ages and the beginning of the new times, of the modern times, the times of science and inquisition. This was a turning point in the relationship between humans and them. See, when human habitats spread, villages and towns, people built houses and dug cellars, and off and on, one or the other hit a tunnel of the good people. And as back then it was common knowledge that under earth, underneath, there is a race of beings, nobody really got upset about it. There was no fear in humans. They just left their tunnel alone and kept living peacefully above. Sometimes there was contact. Sometimes, when there was a particular well-meaning human family, the good people, the Aurelians, made contact, and at night they gave the human family a hand, because the Aurelians have been very handy craftsmen and gave human much knowledge and helped them along. Yes, but everything changed when the respect of humans, their imagination and their goodness changed into greed during the new era. The Aurelians blocked their tunnels more and more, and the interaction with humans became very rare. Then wars became commonplace, not the skirmishes and small and respectful wars between two nations or two tribes, where men fought hand to hand with other men, but wars were fought from distances with grenades, cannons, bombs. Cowardice wars, where men did not look into the eye of the other man when he took his life. This cowardice way of fighting from the distance is one of the reasons civilization took a turn to the worst. And the good people who lived underneath, they were affected by enormous explosions on top and decided to close their tunnels and move to areas where they expected to live in peace and not being constantly interfered with human action. They ask the tall white aliens what they should do, where they should go and still feel safe, and we referred them to a secret group in Northern Europe. I don't want to say which group it is, because if I do so, I will be blamed for having a certain political outlook. But the Northern Europeans who consulted with the good people, the Aurelians, came to the conclusion, and it was during the time before and while the Second World War was raging, that a good part of the Aurelian population should, over time, more and more move to Antarctica. And not only to Antarctica in any part of it, but into the Bellon mountain range. Underneath there, deep underneath there was already, for a long time, a relatively small tunnel system and an underneath city. But during the time of the Second World War and after, this tunnel system was vastly extended. And the Germans, in this case, yes, helped the Aurelians, not because the Aurelians were not capable of building their own tunnel system, but the main contribution of the Northern European, the Germans, was transportation. We, the Germans, helped the Aurelians to cross the oceans in total darkness, so they did not get harmed by sunlight, because the tunnel system they have built over the thousands of years did not reach underneath the ocean to Antarctica. So they had to be transported above. They could not be building tunnels from, let's say, South America, Fireland, or from Africa, from the Cup of Africa, all the way to Antarctica in that short period of time. So this is the story of the Aurelians reaching Antarctica and building an underneath vast tunnel system, being visited and also technically advised in other things by the Germans, who I don't want to mention. And of course, the tall white aliens, we, the tall white aliens, being always in close contact with both groups. Antarctica has different stations of different nations. The Americans have some kind of station there, the English and others, the Russians as well. But they all know to keep their stations small and above Earth, and they don't disturb the race which lives underneath. Because the technology which we, the tall white aliens, provide is vastly more advanced than human technology, and in case any of these nations would come and disturb the underground people, it would create a terrible reaction from us, the tall whites. Because the good people, as we all know them, the Aurelians, have never touched a weapon. They have no capacity to defend themselves. And since they are the original race, non-human race on this planet, and have been our good friends and partners for so long, we will keep an eye on what is going on. You humans are in the process of killing each other instead of helping each other. That gives us a lot of emotional energy of the negative sort. We are thankful for it, but we would appreciate and we would rather take positive energy from you. But you are in many instances and vastly more capable of creating harm on this planet than goodness, so we have to resort to this version of your energy. Yes, that's the story. And there, the good people, the Aurelians, those days are staying. And some of them have remained in the tunnel systems in all the different countries and all the different nations. But it is a rather small group. And they come rarely into contact with humans other than a handful of people who know their secret and they have earned their trust. I don't think there's anything else to say about it. Now you know the history of a non-human race which still is there, but has learned that modern man has lost a lot of their goodness and their emotional capacity to live alongside with nature and other races and try to, in their materialistic way, to take advantage of whatever comes into their reach. Until humans learn to use what they need and don't be greedy and taking that what is others, until then you are left by yourself and to have to fend for yourself. Rudolf, the tall white alien.